Green Party co-leader James Shaw is facing criticism from party members for supporting nearly $12 million in funding for a privately owned green school in Taranaki. It flies in the face of the party's policy to not publicly fund private schools. James Shaw is under mounting pressure and is urgently working to find a solution ahead of an online meeting with members tonight. Delahunty is the party's former education spokesperson and she joins me now. Good evening, Catherine. What's the problem with this?
Oh, kia ora, Lisa. I think the problem was pretty clearly explained by you in the intro, that we have a policy which I had a lot to do with developing over 9 years, that we don't fund private schools, that we put our resources, the state's resources, into the quality public education where it's so badly needed for so many of our young people. And although this project money came out of the Provincial Growth Fund for infrastructure, schools are infrastructure, and I think that it would be great if James, as Minister, who made this mistake, owned it and did his best to make sure that the money went to the people that actually need it.
How strongly do you feel about this?
Oh, I feel very strongly about this. Public quality education took a total bashing under the national government and has not yet recovered. They brought in national standards charter schools and underfunding like we've never seen before. And, the public system is, as you will have seen in the media today, there are teachers in Taranaki very, very upset. And I must say I do feel for them who have high needs kids, broken classrooms, mouldy rooms, and for them there's just no logic in government putting $11 million into expanding a private school which should not be funded by the state. If these people want to do a school, whether it's a green or a purple school or whatever kind of school, that's fine, but they need to pay for it themselves.
Are you putting ideology ahead of jobs? Because James Shaw's press release says it will secure 200 jobs and will contribute, because the school is expected to expand with this construction, will contribute $43 million each year for the local economy. What about the local economy and protecting people's financial future as well?
Well, I think that investing in building programs for public schools provides exactly the same jobs and provides exactly the same money into the local community. And I'm sure now that this issue has arisen, that the schools of the Taranaki area could come up with a number of projects. I think part of the problem is that the Provincial Growth Fund has been like a lolly scramble where a group of ministers have got in a room and looked at thousands of competing bids. It's not the best way to do it. And I think that James, as Minister, has become isolated from the party to some degree in the sense that his instincts didn't tell him that this was never going to fly with the Green Party and that our policies are never to fund private schools, because he's been trying to find jobs that are alternatives to oil and gas in Taranaki, and we get that, but this is not it.
Has he let you and others down?
I think that you could say that. I don't think he deliberately was trying to let people down. I think he made a big mistake, and I hope he comes out and says it's a mistake and rectifies it however he can, because there's a lot at stake in terms of the credibility of our education policy, which is very dear to a lot of people's hearts. We've had a proud tradition of challenging National over their destructive approaches to...
But this is a government decision, Catherine, made by a Labour-led government supported by the Green Party. So we're not talking about National Party policy, we're talking about a decision within a government which the Greens are supporting and is led by Labour. So they said double thumbs up to it.
I know, and I don't get it. And I only raised National because National did the damage in the last 9 years. So the last thing that a Labour Green government should do is any more damage. And that means all resources should be focused on rebuilding infrastructure and creating jobs in a way that is actually just and equitable, including and especially in education. So it doesn't add up, and it needs to be fixed.
So have you had a conversation directly with James Shaw?
No, I have attempted to talk to a few people in the party, and some have contacted me, because I'm not active in the party in the same way as I used to be, and I'm not working on the election campaign in any form. I'm now independent. And so I haven't talked to them, but I know that they'll be very, very busy looking for a solution, and I hope they find one, and I hope that this can be a very positive lesson for the caucus and the ministers. Do not ignore party policy, and do not get so caught up that you can't see the connections and you can't join the dots around things like jobs and education.
When you say you want James Shaw to own this and to fix it, what do you mean exactly? How can he fix it?
Well, that's the thing. I'm not in the position, I'm not in the room, so I don't know how they are working on this money, but I do believe that when mistakes are made, it's important to go and say, ideally he would go and say to the school, I'm really, really sorry, but we can't actually do this because it's outside our brief.
So withdraw funding is what you're saying, Catherine. That would be the best outcome in your view.
Yeah, from my point of view, it would be the best outcome. Withdraw the funding and then let the public quality education in Taranaki have access to the fund. That's what I would do, but I'm not sure what hoops they would have to jump through to achieve that goal. So I'll be very interested because I know that they're working hard on a solution. I'd be very interested to see that solution. But step one is that he admits that this is a mistake and it should never have happened and that we don't support private schools.
What if he doesn't admit that it's a mistake?
Well, if he doesn't, then his party pays for that with the credibility of their position on education, and that would be very, very sad. And I don't think that's how the party feels about education. And I'm looking forward to that. They're having a call tonight to talk to the membership. I'm looking forward to hearing the constructive outcome from that, because when you make a mess, you fix it up. Unless you don't want to fix it up because you actually believe in elite private school funding. But there's nothing in our policies that says that. So
James Shaw's gone rogue, has he?
I don't know. I'm not close enough to Parliament to know exactly what happened in the room.
But in your observation, Catherine, given that he is supporting this, the press release came out under his name, has he gone rogue?
Oh, well, I think rogue is a little bit too colourful. I think what he's done is tried to focus on climate and forgotten about joining the dots. And also, I think that some of his instincts are more conservative than I personally believe in. I would never countenance anything that had the word private next to it, because I know that in education that they don't need our resources. We need to give it to kids. So, I hope that he fixes this. And I hope that he listens to his party and does the right thing and does his absolute best to reassure teachers.
Yeah, as it stands, is this a vote loser at this point?
If there's nothing done about it, it's going to have an impact because people really, really care about public education.
So you think it's going to lose the Green Party votes if James Shaw, in your words, doesn't put it right? I don't know how many people vote on education. We're always told it's a lot. But if you don't fix this, then there is potentially an impact on electoral impact. So it's serious and it needs to be dealt to. Appreciate your time this evening. That is Catherine Delahunty, who is, she was the Green Party's former education spokesperson and not happy at all with this decision to fund a private school in Taranaki. As we mentioned before, we did ask the Minister, James Shaw, on the program this evening. He declined that invitation. We have this statement that says, over the past 24 hours, I have discussed the government's decision to support a shovel-ready construction project at the Green School in Taranaki with the PPTA and NZEI and the Principals Association. I have also received messages from concerned members of the public, seen the commentary on social media and heard from teachers, principals and parents who are disappointed by our decision. I have listened to these concerns and I am working to find a solution. However, I cannot say anything more about that right now. And that was a statement from the Minister, James Shaw.